shake it. What? Kiss ass. What? Shake it. What? Kiss ass. What? Shake it. What? Kiss ass. What? Shake it. What? Kiss ass.
Contamination taking hold. Burn it down, gonna burn it down. Ain't nobody gonna stop me now. I'm gonna burn it down. Watch it burn down to the ground. I'm gonna burn it down. Ain't nobody gonna stop me now. I'm gonna burn it down. Watch it burn down to the ground.
Hello, great gang. You already know that if I'm going straight in without saying hello to you all individually, that I got something to say. See how that works out? So here's the thing I want to remind each and every person. Every single one of you has the absolute opportunity on YouTube to turn your little subscriber page into a channel where you can go live and say whatever it is you want to say with your own voice. It's part of the beauty that is this platform. Okay. You don't have to use somebody else to say what you want to say. Or, potentially harm anyone else because you want to say what you want to say. All right. So let's get into it. Yesterday, somebody asked me in my chat what I thought about the whole Layla situation. And I said at that point in time, I was interested in watching the interview that Headstones and Headlines had scheduled. However, I had a feeling it was going to become a shit show because the history of YouTube and getting families involved, whether they involve a YouTuber or not, I don't care, but families are involved, they turn into shit shows. Again, and I've only been here a year, and if I could tell you something like that, it kind of means something. Not because I said it, but because history does repeat itself from time to time. Now, that was definitely not a dig at Headstones and Headlines. It was not a dig at any other YouTuber who speaks to families. It was not a dig towards anybody else. It was my opinion, and I stand by it. And I would like to point out that here we are today with an absolute shit show of a mess. Why is it a shit show? Well, because people have difference of opinions. If you as an adult can't handle somebody not agreeing with you, that's a you problem. Get the fuck over it, grow the fuck up, and learn how to be an adult. I don't have to agree with everything everybody does, and everybody doesn't have to agree with anything that I do. But I would like to think that since we're out here calling ourselves adults, you'd have some adulting about you. Okay. So I did watch the interview. And while I do think that Headstones and Headlines had the best of intentions on keeping the focus on the missing person and what those details of when she went missing look like and dates and things like that, unfortunately, in my opinion, the stepdad was more focused on talking about his conflict with the mother and how he's going to sue her for custody and he's going to do this and he's going to do that and he's going to get his lawyer, right? Okay. And the problem that I have with that is there's a time and a space for that, in my opinion. This is just my opinions. I'm on my page so I can say my opinions. Anybody who has an issue with it can take it somewhere else. I'm good with that. However, my opinions, you do not have to agree with it. Everybody is welcome in my chat to say if you disagree with that opinion. As long as you speak respectfully, we're all good. I don't block people like that. When you bring him on and he spends at least 20 minutes. He has brought up the fact that, the daughter has some drug issues. While I understand that that's a possibility of importance and to the, I guess for me, I just didn't see how that was important to finding her. But people lose empathy for a missing person when those are the circumstances, and it sucks ass because addicts matter just as much as everybody else, in my opinion. But I mean, it is what it is. He spoke a lot about the issues between him and the mom. He spoke about how, he was active in his daughter's life. And then he went on to explain that his activity in her life was the summers and breaks. They spoke to her often, but they can't exactly recall the last time that they spoke on the phone to her. They spoke a lot during some messages. And so when I got off the live stream, I watched and I asked some questions, and um, their timeline was kind of all over the place. They were mentioning things that people hadn't heard before, and so there's a lot of clarification that should have happened. And everything is a learning lesson. Not that anybody has to absolutely like like, oh, got to do what Nanya says. Like, no, like, who the hell am I? Absolutely nobody. I'm just here sharing my damn opinion. I do understand that people are passionate about it. What abso-fucking-lutely turned me off is there was a person in the chat under an alt name, and they were there answering questions in the chat. They were speaking, the way that they spoke was as if they were like a representative close to the family. And I know, like, I've seen like Landon has had there's a YouTube like a YouTube subscriber that comes in that's very close friends with her, and so I've seen that person come in and speak like on the behalf of her at times, or like thanking different YouTube creators for the work that they're doing, whatever. And so it's not abnormal to see that, right? But this person was speaking very passionately at charges being brought or against the mother in the chat, and I'm like, wow, that kind of was off-putting. But okay, I'm going to just keep watching. And then in the end, the person, I realize it comes out towards the end of the live stream that that person ends up being Jersey. Now, Jersey has been very proud of being a real lifer, proud of going into places and into spaces that most of us don't really agree with her being in. So that does, in my opinion, make her a real lifer. We already know that when she's a very emotionally passionate person. Um, and I'm not knocking that at all, but how exactly this would be the spokesperson hidden underneath an alt name to speak on behalf of this family is abso-fucking-lutely going to guarantee a shit show for anybody. It will 100% guarantee. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bash anybody or anything like that, but that's where I feel like as a creator, sometimes you can go into with like you can go in with the best of intentions in situations, and it can all go awry. And that's what I felt like happened. Now, while I got to hear more from his perspective, and that's great, but he had to constantly be brought back to speaking about his daughter. For me, that's where I think that's where the shit show comes in, because of the fact that, and again, maybe my mind is completely wrong. I don't fucking know. But, and I'm so new to like Krama, like the whole Krama space and true crime pages. Like, I asked somebody today, they were like, well, there's some creators who do bring on the families that are like, would be considered a good page. And I'm like, okay, well, who are they? Because I haven't seen that. All I see is in the Krama area, right? I see people bring in the families, and I see it turn into an entire shit show. And then it becomes, it's no longer about the missing person. It becomes the battle of the families. And above that, and what takes priority, is the battle of the YouTubers. And that's like, that is what it ends up being. And literally today, that's exactly what it feels like it's ending up being. That's crazy as fuck to me. So I stand on what I said yesterday, is that the second that you involve YouTubers and families when there is some type of tragedy, missing person, a missing child, I don't know, any type of family, like a messed up family dynamic, and you take that and you mix tragedy into there. When you add a YouTuber level on top of that, you are asking for an entire shit storm. Literally imagine a whole tornado with shit going everywhere, because it's not about the person that's missing. It's now about the families. It's now about the YouTubers. It's now about everything else except for that person. And again, I believe the intention going into it may have been pure. And I've said that all day long, even though people keep saying I haven't. I have said that all day long. I believe the intention was pure, but the end result didn't have shit to do with the original intentions. Sorry, not sorry. I it literally, and I'll go back. I see some questions. I'll go back and answer the questions in a second. But NorCal Girl, that's literally what I said yesterday. I purposely have not followed this case at all because I see the shit show it's starting to be. I see, oh, don't listen to that person's face. Don't listen, don't look at the mom's Facebook group page. Only look at the dad's Facebook group page. Oh, don't look at the dad's Facebook group page. Look at this one. Oh, look at the mom's GoFundMe. No, don't pay attention to that GoFundMe. Pay attention to the dad's GoFundMe. Listen, if as adults you can't come together for the best outcome for your daughter, nah. And listen, you know I don't fuck with Summer Wells like that. But if even Dawn and Candace can come together to speak, to try and find their daughter, come on now. Yeah. And again, it's not a bash to anybody. That's not what this is. This is my opinion on the situation that's going on. I think that there's absolutely, again, some of the best intentions. What is it? Like the road to hell is paved with the best intentions, or some shit like that is the saying. I think that the best intentions were absolutely put out their forefront. And I think that awareness and was absolutely, like, that was the purpose, but that purpose was lost. And I wish that people could take a step back and look at the fact, when you mix a real lifer, you mix a person who exploits on purpose, and you mix vendettas, and you mix a resentment on top of a missing person, on top of a bad family dynamic. Yeah, you can't convince me that that's not a perfect, like absolute perfection of a recipe for a shit show. Sorry, not sorry. Like that's how I feel. Yeah, Kelsey, please do. I'm not telling anybody, like, again, this is my opinion. This is not anybody else's opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm strictly speaking for myself. Absolutely. Like the families don't know how bad YouTube can get. They shouldn't be here. NorCal Girl, one of the things that I said yesterday, um in the chat during that time, is the dad was talking about owning his own business, and how his business, the need to search for his daughter has impacted his ability to do business. Now, what do you think is going to happen? I'll look up in some comments, but what do you think is going to happen to that business when somebody gets a hold of this, sees that interview, and starts wanting to fuck with him? Like that, again, like, I don't know. There is no, you have to love your child more than you hate your ex. I agree. Okay, let me go back. Have I seen you ask some questions? Yeah, yeah, Captain, I agree. I do not know in hindsight, keep away from the drama, but now knowing about it makes more sense to me. Okay, agreed. She's a very fast learner, and I think she will use this as a learning experience. She's a great creator. I'm sure her intentions are pure. I agree with that, Julie. I absolutely 100% agree that that's definitely something that will. And again, and I think I said last night in her stream, one of the things, thank you, Nessie. One of the things that I absolutely suggested in the stream is doing like a pre-recorded video with the dad to ask questions and get his answers. So if he went off topic, then she can kind of control and bring it back in and, bring it back onto the subject. So that would have been good. But again, if it's your first time doing it and again, your intentions are pure and you want to, if the priority was to bring that awareness to get the name out and things like that, which I don't knock that. I know that one of them, I think it's Bash, who lives in the area. I think it's amazing that she was able to go and go to the area and get some info from there. So I think that that's good. Again, great great intentions, but the best intentions. Hi, Cappy.
Hey, what's up?
I didn't know if it was you.
It's me. It's not
Okay.
a clone of me. Hold on, let me put my headphones on really quick.
Okay.
Um, so my question was this: did you say that? Because I didn't want to get this screwed up and start a rumor on accident. Did you
Okay.
say that the alt account was possibly Jersey?
Yes. No, no, not possibly. It is her. And the reason why I know is the alt actually accidentally got timed out by a moderator.
Okay.
And the moderator ends up saying, Jersey, are you still here? I think I accidentally timed you out or blocked you. One of the two. I don't remember which one happened. But they end up saying, Jersey, are you still here? I think I accidentally blocked you. They were trying to block another person that was coming in the chat to like talk mess about the family.
Okay.
And they accidentally blocked the alt account.
Oh.
And then, so later on, so I stayed and I was watching the comments and I see them say, Jersey, are you still here? I think I accidentally brought you,
Oh
blocked you,
shit.
excuse me. And once
Excuse
I
my
see it,
language.
I was like, okay, wait a second. Again, I think that great intentions coupled with great interview, let's finally now, Sinner, I do not disagree there. I absolutely do not disagree there. I 100% agree with that. And again, like my page isn't, like I don't tend to do that stuff, you know what I mean? So there's that. But leave it to Beaver, is that you? Let me see.
Like I get like having a platform for a united family that's trying to get the word out, but when it's family versus family, like this part of the family's over here, part of the family's over there, is when it's just like gonna crash and burn and end up like just being about something else.
Yeah.
Like for like a good example is like Monkey's mom, Brandy, her and her husband, they have one creator that they go talk on, and I think that that's great. Like part of the true crime community gave her a hard time in the beginning, and it was really shitty, but it stayed pretty like the
So
craziness stayed
I want to
corralled, kind of.
clarify something. I see people asking about trolling. She was not trolling. There was a separate account that was a troll account. It was not this particular account. And the mod was trying to block the troll account and accidentally blocked Jersey. So I want to clarify, she was not there trolling like that. I don't, that's how rumors get started. It's not what I said. We need to refocus. We need to support law enforcement and the entire family. They can infight all they want in searching, and we need to do what we can to show Layla it's safe to come home and she'll be okay. I agree.
Because platforming the infighting is not going to help at all.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And I think that's where like things they do go wrong. Um they do go wrong when that becomes the focus, you know what I mean? And that's actually what I said yesterday. I think it was like around this time yesterday when I went live, but that's one of the things I said. And we talked about the person who asked the question originally in my chat. They talked about, and Cappy, don't get riled up here, okay? But they talked about the infighting with the Longs. They talked about the infighting with the Marvon McCrae. When you see those families start to go at it, what that looks like when you add all the other stuff to it. And that's what we were talking about yesterday was when a family that is already, going through so much, you know what I mean?
yeah,
when they're already going through so much, then it makes it even harder. Um, it makes it harder. So, I mean, again, I mean, by all
No,
means,
I'm not.
I
I'm
don't,
not offended by that at all. Like the mom, actually, in that case, never even came to the internet. Like she emailed with like Critical K like 3 times, and Critical
mhm,
K like made it like seem like they were friends.
yeah,
Like, but yeah, she kept it professional with her attorneys and stuff, and the crazy dad like did his thing. But I agree that like even without her coming to the internet, with that infighting, it becomes all about you and me and them and not the case itself.
yeah. Yeah. And then, like, even for me, and again, just giving my opinion, I think when you call yourself somebody's friend, there's very few people here I would call, my friend. But I also think that when you call somebody your friend and you end up, when you, like, if I know that my friend is in a bad space, I'm not going to go like throw more junk on top of them. Right? Like I'm gonna try and like do what I can to help lighten their load. That's just my
Right.
definition of being a friend, right? But like, we'll just talk about it. So Jersey went up on Queen's panel, and she goes into this entire rant. She hasn't watched the live stream. She listened to part of it. She didn't finish it, but she wants to come up and give all of her opinions or emotional opinions on it, but like you didn't even like watch it. So how you may potentially be missing a lot of context, and at the end of the day somebody may just disagree with you. Like I think that's perfectly fine to disagree with somebody.
Well, the talking points were like really. Somebody else up here has a lot of feedback.
Oh, Bieber, can you mute for a second, and then we'll let you talk. There you go, that should be better. Let me take this down.
But yeah, like her talking points, like the tragedy pimp thing, like I'm Queen Bee's best friend, and I agree with that. Like, it's a watered down word that we've all overused. Jones and even said, I'm not using it anymore because she did use it. You know what I mean? Like, the talking points were just like, it felt like just a desperate need to stir up shit and
But
dump
you know
all
what I think
over the
is funny
panel.
is literally the conversation, while that was the catalyst that that like created the conversation, because Betty was talking about tragedy pimping.
Okay,
And so that's what actually like started the conversation that Dietz had brought up. But her whole conversation is, it seems like you have a definition of tragedy pimping. I have a definition of tragedy pimping. Bieber has a definition of tragedy pimping. They may be similar, but they're probably not the same exact thing. You may think something's more important than I do, right? And that was
right.
the whole conversation of, well, what do you define it as? And that's literally what we were talking about. I left probably towards the end of the live stream, but I watched 90% of it. But it's like, it's really, um it's weird to me that people will take what you think this definition of something is and then turn it into, you said this about me. Like that's a very
Yeah.
odd dynamic here. I truly wish I could understand it, but I don't understand it at all.
If the definition of tragedy pimping is different, then it's a personal attack, is what you're saying.
Right. If I say, let's say you did a live, Cappy, yesterday. Sorry, Bieber, hold on. If you did a live yesterday and um, you say, ban tragedy pimps. They've all got to go. Right. And that's what
Right.
you say. Right. And the next day I fire up a live and I'm like, I don't really think tragedy pimps are a thing. This is what I think. What I don't
Okay.
understand is, how does what I just say turn into a personal attack on Cappy and what Cappy just said?
Right. Right.
That's
Gotcha.
very confusing to me. Hey, Bieber.
Hey, do I have an echo? Is everything good?
Everything's good so far.
Okay, because I'm having a shitstorm of problems on my end, but it's okay. I do want to say too, like some people, I wanted to share my brief experience with helping a particular family. I've helped many, but there's one. But I
Mhm.
did want to say too, there are some people that flat out think If you talk about these cases at all, you're a tragedy pimp. If you, because you are glorifying or talking about somebody else's grief, it's none of your business, da 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 da. There's like actually tons of people that feel that way. You can look on YouTube. There are so many
Yeah,
documentaries about how it's wrong, and it's not, and it's like Netflix and the Dahmer. I mean, it is.
like true crime in
It's a lot of
general.
true crime in general. Absolutely. Like for me, when I was putting up content, I mainly focused on child rights in awareness for child abuse and missing kids. Mine was more awareness, but it did not. I wasn't exempt from criticism about collecting off of people's tragedies. And it's actually, I've taken a break and I've been looking at things differently, but I think it's fine to monetize if you work and you help. But I wanted to quickly say I've had several families before reach out to me, and praise God, I've been successful at helping find two missing teenagers at one point. I'm not like patting my back. I'm saying that to say it 100% can be helpful. But I wanted to also like Xavier Harrelson. Now I'm not looking at the chat and feel how you feel. Please keep it. Please feel how you feel. But nobody's been convicted, so I say the shit I don't want to hear. This mother, and we just happened to have when Xavier Harrelson went missing out of Iowa a few years back. They have since found his remains, and anyways, but he was missing. There was a lot of misinformation, but anyways, I had a person that was a member of mine or a longtime subscriber, something like that, but she needed to tell her story. His mother, because she had mental illness, she had a drug addiction, and she had all the things, and she was a single mom, and guess what? She was not people's favorite. I get it. I 100% get it. That doesn't mean she did something to her child. But anyways, so she needed to talk in a safe space about her son. And that's what we did. We brought her on the channel. She talked about her son in a safe space. But the shitstorm that came with it from one certain creator, I'm not going to say it here if I ever see her in the dark alley, but I digress. But it was so much. And when you help a family as a creator, you have to have strength or super abilities that you don't even know you have. But more than anything, you have to understand it is not your life. It is their life. It's not a TV drama. These are real life people with real life situations.
Absolutely.
And people are so shitty. I mean, they're so shitty.
Mhm.
And this poor mom, nobody will even speak to her. Like, she has no friend in the world. And she can message me anytime. Do I have my thoughts if she's done something or perhaps was involved? Of course. I mean, I'm not stupid, but
So,
there's
so
no
I am
proof.
curious. Can I
Yeah.
just ask because I don't know much? Hold on. Queen Bella, can you mute for a second? And then I can Queen Bella, can you hear us?
Yeah, hold on a minute. Trying to
Okay.
figure this
Okay.
out.
No worries. No worries. Um, so, well, I guess it's a question to the whole panel and to the chat as well. So, I think it's pretty safe to say that none of us have a problem with the families reaching out to YouTubers to be able to have a platform with the voice. Do we all agree with that? So, are you good with families reaching out to a YouTuber to have a voice?
I'm good with it because for me, I probably wouldn't do it again. But I'm good
Okay.
with it because that his mother Sarah, she might not. To this day, I'm the only one that sit down and did a 45-minute talk with her about her son in a safe space. Nobody else has that. So for me
Okay.
to be able to help her and facilitate that, I would do it. But I don't know. It's tricky
Okay.
because it's a very fine line. But I agree, it's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. It's hard. It's hard for me to give a firm yes or no on that because, like I've said, there's been families that have come and spoke, and nothing came of it. But a guarantee for things to start getting kicked up and getting crazy is panel platforming infighting.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, Queen Bella,
Yes.
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good.
I
You're
just
up
came
on
up
a
because I
panel.
was. Yes, I am.
Is this your first panel?
Um, kinda. I think I was up on Bops for a little bit of one. And then now this
Oh.
is only my second, which is why I'm sorry I didn't like mute. I was like trying to figure out what I was doing. But I just wanted to bring up. I was modding last night in that live. Um, and even for modding, I was like, who is this person? And so for everyone to know what they're asking about Jersey, she actually came up with the name that says Help Find Layla Santinello. That was her name that came up in chat when people were talking. And so many asked them and said, who are you? Who are you to this person? And they would never answer until at one point they said something towards the stepmother, saying something like, I'm proud of you, my friend, or something like that. So I was on the assumption it was a family member. Okay, that's just, I'm in there like watching this thing, I'm seeing it go back and forth. I'm kind of feeling, excuse me, I know I mentioned yesterday in your live that I just felt like, I feel like two families, no matter what, like should come together if a child's missing. But apparently I didn't know all the details either. I haven't looked into this case. So I didn't know it all. So I was trying to go in last night with a open mind to hear what was going on. But I wanted to clarify that Jersey came in. If that was Jersey, which you're saying she admitted it was, and like I said, I didn't get to catch Queen Bee's live before it was. I was literally like rewinding, and then it disappeared.
Yeah.
But it came in under the name Help Find Layla Santinello. So I know for myself, I was under the impression it was a family member. Maybe it was coming from like a YouTube page, a Facebook page. Like, it just seemed weird to me. So I just assumed it was someone in the family.
Yeah,
Okay.
so what's up? I just want to know, like, what's the, because I just came on and everything's going, just explain to me, like, the situation so far, like what was the situation with going on so far? Just 'cause I'm a little lost. I'm a
So
little
let me
lost.
let me get this straight, B Tim. So you're coming here, but you didn't rewind to watch what I said.
Absolutely.
I can give a
Absolutely.
recap. I don't mind. I don't mind. So essentially, so yesterday morning I did a live stream, and somebody asked me in my live, like what my thoughts were about the whole Layla situation, and I said, history tells you that when there is family infighting, when there's a tragedy involved, that it goes all bad. And when you add YouTubers onto there, it goes all bad. Like that's just what happens, right? That's my, in my opinion. So that for me, I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to like do anything. Like I just was staying completely away from it. So that's the opinion that I gave yesterday morning. But I did say that Headstones and Headlines was having a stream, and I was very interested to hear what the dad had to say and get some more details. Because of the infighting, I kind of stayed on the outside and didn't know much about it. So I watched the stream yesterday, and so today I gave some commentary on it. And so one of the things that I had said today was, for me, it feels like, I guess there's some unfortunates to it, but like there was, and again, you can't control what somebody says, so I get that. I do believe the intentions of Headstones and Headlines was of the best. I believe she did it for awareness. She did it so that information can get out there. I'm not knocking that or doubting that at all whatsoever. I like her page. I'm a sub to her page. So like, I think what she does is completely valuable, right? So I'm not bashing that at all. But what I seen is I seen the dad take about a 20-minute stint, and I'm being gracious there because it could have been longer, where all he talked about was the mom and all these things that she has done, and she did this and she did that, and I'm getting my lawyer because I'm gonna do this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that. But it was all about the mom until the chat was like, hey, can we get back to this being about, Layla. And then Emmy
Mhm.
did come in and did bring it back into Layla, right? So
Yeah.
I respect that completely. That's awesome. I think that there were a lot of questions that were asked, and the stepmom did most of the talking. But the answers that they were giving, it was a lot of like, well, no, I don't know. Like, that's why I'm here, is to listen to your story. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like, and again, it could completely be judgmental of me. I'm not discounting that at all. That's why it's strictly my
Well,
opinion.
did he might have been angry, and he might have been trying to, sometimes people who are angry at something try to point blame on certain people. It's kind of a grief process. So some people handle grief a little bit differently with like anger at first, probably.
Yeah,
So,
and that's possible too. Like again, I haven't been in their situation, so I can't even begin to imagine
mhm,
like what that's like. All I can do is, for me, I pray. So like, give out my prayers to them and hope for the best happens. But
mhm.
this whole like conversation is, that's why this is entitled I Said What I Said, because like the shit show is inevitable.
Yeah, I mean personally, I had no issues with. I mean, I gotta watch the interview more. Like, I watched a little bit. I had to pass up because I was up that night before, because I was up all night, like that day, like the day before, because the storm that hit Florida, and I have my mom who lives in Florida, so I was up all night, kind of watching, kind of calling in, so that type of deal. So I was kind of out of it. So I kind of went to bed earlier. That's the preference of that. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's all right to do an interview with the parents. I think when you're dealing with grieving parents or something like that, when you have people who are not grieving, I would say people who are worried, let's just say, because grieving implies some sort of death or something like that. Worried parents trying to figure out what's going on. It's hard to direct them because you don't want to be too, pushy on that. And I think that's the issue. And I think she might have he might have went off a little bit on the rails, but when you're dealing with that type of situation, it's kind of gonna happen, unfortunately, once in a while. You know what I mean? You're not gonna always
Yeah.
gonna get that. Um, and I think he's rightfully so. He wants to know a little bit. I mean, like, he probably just finds out about Betty, and he's probably thinking to himself, who the fuck is this lady? That's what the situation is. Personally, I mean, I think it's good to give them a voice, but I
Yeah,
think.
I don't, and I think that's where
But
like
listen,
everybody
but
in
listen,
the
B
chat is
Tim.
agreeing.
But wait, B Tim, you're the same. I've heard you say this though. I've
Yes.
heard you say like
You
cease
gotta
and
tell me what I
desist. Do
said.
not come. Do not. I don't know if you said cease and desist, but
I never said
basically
cease
like,
and desist.
but like, basically like, I'm trying to sound like B Tim.
No, 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 that's not B Tim. I'm not the RoboCop.
That's
What the
so.
fuck are you
That's
talking
so
about?
B Tim. What do you
That's
mean?
RoboCop. Cease and desist all activities.
Cease and
You have
desist
30
all
seconds to
activities.
put the weapon down. Like
I'm
fucking
done.
RoboCop.
I'm fucking done with you. Anyway, no, like I've heard you give like general advice, like, just don't go to YouTube basically with your
Yeah,
cases.
but the problem is, in my understanding, is that it makes it a little bit more complicated because BHP keeps on use for I could talk about BHP. I feel like BHP is using like the mother as some sort of weapon against any criticism, and you don't. And I think that's like, whenever she gets criticized for something, it's like it seems like she uses the mother. She even, like, when she falsely accused the Glare of something, she's like, the mother, and it's like, I think like BHP is like doing like kind of that feels like it. And I would say like cease all activities on YouTube unless you know what you're getting into the arena. When you get into the
That's what you
arena,
say. That's what you say.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Unless you know that you're going, like, I mean, YouTube is great for getting that awareness out, but you need to be given the riot act, and whereby you're going to be told you're going to be in the shit show. Like, it could be nothing could happen, or you're going to be completely in the shit show, kind of like this situation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
once like, I think when you tell people that and you give them the due diligence that says, listen, be prepared, I think, and they say, yes, okay, I'm ready, then it's on them at that point. You know what I mean? It's you giving them the riot act. And I'm pretty sure Headstones probably gave them the riot act and says, listen, BHB don't play. This is going to be a lot of drama. If you want to jump up and start talking against BHB, you're probably going to be in a situation. And I'm sure she gave them the riot act. And that's, and if they make the decision of jumping into the arena, it's their decision to make. But, personally, if I was in that situation, I would if I was in their situation, I would probably be if I was because it sounds like the father's angry and he's like looking at BHB on TikTok with like horror music on, with like basically calling in tips that are already been called in, walking around the woods. Her main concern is her 5 million views on TikTok. She's angry with anyone else covering the case. She's using the mother as a bludgeoning tool for any sort of criticism. I'd be kind of angry too if I was a father and I'm seeing my daughter being monetized and being used for a YouTuber to basically try to kind of make their bones on TikTok or
Well,
not bones,
I
but
actually went and watched the TikToks,
yeah.
and that's
I
why
saw
to
one.
me I'm like, well, I don't. I actually watched Olivia's and Betty's last night after I left
I
that
didn't
live,
see Olivia's. I saw Betty's.
and they were like, I don't. I reside in the gray gang, but to me there was nothing in those particular videos. That's all I'm speaking of. And I went and watched all of the mom's videos and the information. Like, I think she has an amazing video. Somebody in her comments had asked, like, does your daughter have any markings or tattoos? And the
Mhm.
mom made a video, and in that video, like, it's literally close up pictures of every tattoo she has. I thought that was amazing.
Mhm.
So like, I think that there is
What'd you think?
absolutely a benefit
Yeah.
to putting it out there. For me, I don't see what other people see in Betty's
Well, you didn't
particular
wait.
videos, but if
What?
they're talking, maybe that's the difference. Maybe they're talking YouTube videos. Like, people have said she
Uh,
said that she was gone, or people have said that she said that was her camp that she was in. But on her TikTok videos, that's not what she says. So again, context is everything. So that may be where the difference lies, is what content you're talking about at that point.
sure.
But for
Um,
me, the coverage I've seen on TikTok only, that's all I'm speaking of. That to me is like, okay, like, I don't personally see an issue with any of the content they've put out on TikTok yet.
I had an issue with the one video with the horror music. It was like I was like, "Holy fuck! What's with the fucking music?"
Well, I
I'm
mean,
like,
I, I
because I know what that's implying. Like you might not understand it, but I know what that's implying. That's like the music you put on when there's like conspiracy or you want to get someone to kind of get like down the rabbit hole type of deal. And I feel like that's what is the implied. That's what the audience. And when I hear music like that, first off, I hate listening to that music. It's like fucking soul rendering music. I hate that song so much.
I
And it's
mean, but it's also like, and I'm not trying, by all means. I am no fan at all. I'm not a sim for anybody, but
absolutely
just looking, in from the gray gang aspect, to me, it's like, so we're saying the videos were wrong because she put
no, not
music
all of
on
them.
it, like, and
I
like,
only
I think that's
mentioned
what happens sometimes is people take, like, okay, well, she did all these bad things in the past, so they automatically put that onto what you're doing today. And that's kind of where
um
I do struggle at times. Like, if you're putting out misinformation, you're putting out misinformation, and that's wrong. Like, no matter what. Like, somebody was saying that, she did put out 2 pieces of misinformation on her YouTube videos. Okay, that's wrong. Have no
mhm,
issues with that. But when you're talking about she put out misinformation on this what do you call it?
TikTok.
TikTok video, yeah, then, well, no, like, it's not there. So that's just like, it's just such a challenge because,
Well, you've noticed I haven't mentioned anything about misinformation on TikTok. I only mentioned one video that I did not like. So,
well, not you, B Tim, not you.
like, I'm just saying, I usually
It's
don't
not
make
all about you, B Tim. I'm just saying.
I just mentioned I saw that one TikTok. I did not like the theme of the music because I'm thinking to myself in the perspective of a parent that's listening to that video. I would not like that. I would be very annoyed if someone put like that type of fucking soul rendering music on top of a the missing child and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
but on a scale, like, do you think it's definitely not the worst thing she's done, right?
No, it's not the worst thing that she's done. Absolutely not. But
But
I mean, it could have been hopeful music she could have put there, to give hope,
yeah, but
like,
probably
I,
wouldn't
I
get the
get
views.
that part. Like, you're obviously, like, you're searching the woods and there's this, I get the implications with the music for sure.
I mean, because it's a business for her. That's how she makes her living.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's okay or not okay. A lot of people gave AWP a lot of leeway on that until later. I was the only one calling them out, me and like maybe one or two other people, but
I did.
I
oh,
declare.
I totally called them out, yeah,
Yeah.
and the Glare did, and like I think Laura might have with me on panel, and like the sensationalizing for views and making it a business and whatnot, and like being a big part of Lindsay Rodney's like pain. But I digress. Like it, I don't know. I don't. Me personally, I wouldn't want to be like foot on neck if she wasn't doing like really crazy shit. Now I can't say because I haven't really followed that much of this case, but just like sad music, I don't know if I'd be that mad in comparison to what the other shit she's done. I don't know.
So Rowena said, let's not sugarcoat it. She wants to find a body. And I do
Yeah,
agree with that in my opinion. I think that's part of what drives the searches.
To put it
Um,
simply, yeah, I agree with that. If you want to just break it down to just the simplistics of everything, that's what it boils down to. Totally.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. So I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I also think that like I think I'm all for like me personally on my page. I don't tend to do it, but I'm all for supporting anybody who brings awareness, who gets the name out there, who puts the name in the algorithm. I think that's amazing. I have zero issues with people making money. I don't knock anybody's hustle. I only knock it if what you're doing is harmful to the people who you're making money off of. That's it for me. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the only person that I've seen that's actually like implied uh, that um, that Layla is no longer with us has been Betty. Um,
And that was on a YouTube stream.
yeah, yeah.
And she did not state that like she just thinks that she is gone. She literally like says it factually.
No, she says that she's probably no longer alive or something to that effect. I can't. She's
Okay.
um, I can't quote it. I did review it. It's on one of my videos that I reviewed, but I don't remember verbatim exactly what she said. But I was like, wow. And then I went into this whole rant that I've done a million times about how dangerous it is when you imply that with missing people. Um,
Okay.
but but in regards to the and hi, good Nunya, thanks for letting me up. I didn't say hi when you said hi. Sorry about that. I didn't want to copy. Um, the in regards to the interview that Headstones and Headlines did yesterday, I agree with you. I think that her intentions were great. I think she did the best she could with that. Nothing. I have no criticism towards her for anything she did, but it became abundantly clear that there are serious family issues, and it's just going to breed drama on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
if it continues and continues, and that is not going to be good for Layla. I mean, just look at the Summer Wells case.
I wanted to go back and read a comment that Burden, hi, infamous truth teller. Hold on one second. Let me read this comment from Burden because I really liked it and I
okay.
couldn't say anything at that time. And then you can chime in. So many families don't realize the toxicity that could come from YouTube. I personally don't ask families for any interviews because I don't want to be the open door for the toxicity. If they ask for one, I advise them of the risk. If they still want to press forward, I would record it and can then edit it if I need to protect them rather than interview live.
Good
I
idea.
like that concept.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's a little bit more of a kind of controlled environment. So I do like that one for sure.
and but
Hi, Infamous. Oh,
I'm sorry. But I also see the point. I also see the perspective of wanting to just do it live so that it's um not so much controlled, even though that can be very healthy the way that Burden of Proof is putting it. I agree with that. But also doing it live also kind of you're getting the most honest answers. The chances of getting the most honest answers is you know uh, is improved in that sense. So I kind of see wanting to do it live because you're going to have a conversation and answers are going to probably come out more naturally and the chat gets to um, the chat gets to ask questions. And there was a lot of chat interaction
Yeah.
with Layla's stepmother and father, which I thought was actually very healthy because they were asking some really good questions.
Okay. Infamous, I'll go ahead and let you chat, and then I'm gonna read. I want to talk about this comment from
Go ahead. I mean, you can go ahead. I just had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Just because I'm just, just from an outsider looking in, but in regards to, like, how they say don't, I don't condone, like, trying to talk to witnesses, or when somebody does pass away, in regards to cases, because it could hinder an investigation, right?
Mhm.
So what do you think? I mean, could that hinder an investigation on missing people as well? I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking. That's just a question that I was
So
curious about.
So somebody yesterday was saying that we were talking via DMs, and they were saying that having families up can cause, potential problems in an investigation. I don't understand that. I haven't been around long enough to kind of see it happen, I guess. But that
Right.
part I would like to have a better, can anybody give an example that you've seen over the years of where what a YouTuber did hindered an investigation?
Me personally, no, I'm just curious because I'm just, I mean, like you said, the family infighting, and then, not necessarily that they're grieving, but just the emotions that are involved, and especially if they're not, if they're not together and haven't been together, and they're remarried, it just causes, I think it causes a lot more chaos, and if you're not a professional to be able to, speak to them, and you know I don't know. I just think things could be said, or especially if you do a live, there could be some things that could be said that could, just cause a lot of infighting. That wouldn't help with, with getting, trying to get results in regards to Layla. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes any
It,
sense or
it
not.
does. It does. My opinion on that is it's a slippery slope because it's a tricky situation because it's not on the YouTuber most of the time, unless the YouTuber has nefarious reasons for having the person up there and speaking up, and they're just looking to trap them and twist their words in some way. But in a case where it's just the purpose, the intention is just to simply get the information out there. Uh, you know, it depends on the
Yeah.
viewer. And is the viewer more interested in the drama involving the family, or is the
Right.
viewer more interested in getting the information and keeping an eye out uh, for this missing person? You know,
Yeah, that's
So
such a
maybe
touchy.
that's the segue into Sinner's comment, because Sinner says, so you're saying it's potentially the viewer that's coming in that's ready for the drama. But Sinner says the drama is 99% the loud opinions of creators. What are they creating anyways? So I think that may be it could potentially be two parts. I don't fully disagree with either side. It could be,
right?
I also think that sometimes when, if there's a beef between creators and they take opposite sides of things, I think that can be part of where, the drive to, give out that information and things like that. I think that may be also, can be skewed at times as well, and that helps drive that drama too.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually I caught the replay and I didn't even get to finish the entire interview. I listened to
Mhm.
about half of it, and then I was interrupted and I couldn't listen to the rest yet. I haven't gotten to it yet, but but I was concerned because Headstones and Headlines does a lot of Betty reviewing, you know.
Mm.
So I was concerned. I was like, is this going to be about Betty? And I don't think I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't think I only heard one comment. It was almost towards the end, but I don't think I heard the
I thought
even
she
if
did a
that was
great
a
job.
thought, it wasn't a thought in my mind, but even if that was a thought, I felt like they made sure to, that's one thing I will give them. They made sure to keep this about this
Right.
family and
I
not
was.
about, Betty. So I thought that was really good.
It was a minor concern going into listening to it, and then as I started listening to it, I was like, okay, phew, good. You know, because I don't know Headstones and Headlines that well. I just know that she does a very good job of reviewing Betty. And so, but like I said, it was a minor concern going into it. But I had no reason to actually believe that she would make the interview about Betty, you know. And listening to it, and as much as I did listen to it, like I said, I didn't get to finish it, but as much as I did listen to it, all I heard was just valid questions that were crucial to the information needed to keep an eye out for Layla and spreading her information.
Yeah.
And I know Headstones and Headlines is just my experience with her. Like, it just even like sending emails, just kind of corresponding in that regards. Like, if there's something, like if I find something, I'll send her an email. She tries very hard to be very responsible with information that she puts out. I mean, I don't know. I haven't even heard the interview, so I don't want to speak on, the interview or anything like that. But I know just from experience that she tries to be as responsible as she can to make sure that there's not any misinformation that's put out there. But I just, like you said, it's a slippery slope with talking to parents, and if you got to give them a heads up on, like what could happen if you come up on social media, especially if you're not really experienced in interviewing and so on and so forth. And a mob mentality could be a positive or a negative thing,
And that can shift in a second, man. Like, that mob mentality can kick in and just shift. It's really hard to see that coming sometimes.
So Kate Does Crime said, but also, are we any better as viewers? When these messy lives happen, everyone flocks to watch the shit show, which gives ammo for the creator to keep it up.
Agreed.
I
Right.
agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
And then eat them to almost compete, like another creator and another creator almost compete at who could say what and who might be involved. And then it starts insinuating other things other than what the facts of the matter of her being missing, or somebody being missing.
Yeah. Hi, Sab. Hi, Brianna. And just so everybody knows, I don't do long live streams, so we are almost at the hour mark. So
I'm going to jump down.
Just saying.
All right. See you around.
I'm going to jump down. Take care, guys. Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to jump up real quick on the issue of the viewership. That's a very good point. But, like, how do we separate the audience that's there to actually learn from the audience that's there to spur on the bullshit?
Say that again.
How do we separate? Like, I was there last night. I knew that there was gonna be fuck shit going on, of course, because it's YouTube and it's, this space being what it is. But I was there to learn. But then there was people like, she at the end who kept getting everything deleted that she was saying. She was there to cause trouble. And there were people that were there because they wanted to see the infighting between the parents, or they wanted to see Voldemort get into it with Emmy.
Right.
How do you separate the honest audience from the shit stirrers?
You can't.
I mean,
you can't.
there's no
I
science
feel like you can't.
There's no science to it, but you just make sure to have you make sure to have good, trustworthy moderators in the chat. That's about the best that you can do. Really, is make sure to have just try to do your best to control the environment. Is all you can really do, because people are going to be in there for what they're in there for. You can't control what people are in there for, but it's just a question of having some control over your chat to where where the guests don't feel disrespected, because it's a hell of a thing for the family of a missing person to go on a YouTube channel, and they deserve the utmost respect no matter what their opinions are or whatnot. They deserve to be heard, and they deserve to have their voice heard. So the best thing that you can do is just have good, trustworthy moderators while you moderate the interview, and have your moderators moderate the chat, and and just do the best you can. But there's no way to.
So I want to clarify. So there, we're not currently, we are not speaking of the chat last night. Brianna, you are speaking of in general, where we do see this happen in the past, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
do see this constantly happening. So this isn't specifically about that chat last night. This is now,
No.
like, most of the stuff we were talking about at this point is general, unless we're actually talking about that. But
The chat that is still very, very top of my mind. I cannot wrap my brain around that screaming fest between Daisy, Prayer Garden, and Ziggy last week. And there were like 1,000 people in there. I cannot
Well,
grasp that.
Look at the creators you're talking about. You
I
know,
was
I
going
mean,
to say, do the creators normally get down like that?
Screaming at each other, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's apparently how Daisy and Jinkies grew up, just
Oh.
screaming at each other constantly.
Okay.
I guess.
Willow
Yeah.
said, don't even know what we're talking about. Been saying it for years. The viewing audience dictates our behavior, our being content creators. If they allow it, we will do it. We being the content creator. Mob mentality in the web, like peas and carrots.
I mean, that's not untrue, but like I said, it can be controlled to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I've always said that a creator's chat is a pretty accurate, usually a pretty accurate reflection of the creator.
Absolutely.
So when you see a lot of misbehavior in the chat, a lot of that just has to do with what the creator allows and what they put up with or what they perpetuate. So there is a lot of responsibility on the creator when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody being here.
All right, see ya.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me up.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for being
Nanya.
respectful in
See
the
you
chat.
later.
Please do not forget that kindness is free, and go where you please. And these are my opinions. Have a great night, guys.
I wanted to tell you that